Alright guys, Shotty T here with an Alliance War video. This is the war number 6 of the season. Sorry behind guys, just caught up, been under the weather for the past several days. If you guys heard in that last video that I posted, I was sniffling quite a bit. That was at the very beginning of what was going to be a pretty bad cold, but it wasn't COVID. So anyways, so my memory may be a bit fuzzy on some of these fights as far as what actually happened. So it's almost like it's a reactionary commentary. But I think I recall this particular war, though, as far as some of the stuff that went along. There's going to be a few dynamics in this war that you guys will be able to take note of in some of these fights. So you'll be in for a treat as usual. So the opponent is running Protect once again. So our attack team is going to be Magic, Warlock, and Claire. And of course, Magic and Warlock have a pretty good synergy together. I think I might have explained that in a prior video as well. Memory's not that fuzzy. But first fight's going to be an Omega Red. It's a pretty straightforward fight. It's good to fight him with robots so that way the spore charges don't build up quickly. So the main thing, I just got to make sure that I don't bleed him, because that will trigger his death field. So, and also just want to stay away from the SP2 for the same reason. So right now we're just taking this fight nice and slow, not doing anything too crazy. And you see he has a recoil. There's going to be quite a few opponents. This war is going to have suicide, so it does make it a little easier when you have opponents like that. And Omega is down. And by the way, I'm just about to head out of town, so I'm gonna see if I can sneak in a couple of more videos while I'm out of town. Because after this video, I'm gonna finish my packing and hit the road for about 6 hours. We are in a war currently. We're in the 10th. Yeah, the 10th war of the season. So that gives you an idea how far behind we are here. So I'll try to make sure to get those other war videos out though. So next fight here, we got a Red Goblin. Haven't really fought him in war. And it's been a while since the event quest. Only thing I vaguely recall is that the SP1 is the preferred special that you want to bait. So that's what we're gonna be doing here. And of course I use Claire because of the class advantage, but also if I do make a mistake, I always have that SP2 for the heal factor. And I timed that SP2 right there to where I can knock him down and trigger that Fury again. I had to get a feel for him early on, but now I'm used to certain things, so now I'm fighting a little bit more aggressive. All right, and he's down. It still got a little bit of congestion in my voice, like usually when you're on the back end of a cold, like you'll have like a bunch of accumulation in your nose. So I'm technically just waking up right now, so usually when you wake up, you just got a whole bunch of stuff you just want to, yeah, I don't want to gross you guys out if you're eating. Anyway, so that else I decided not to take on. Wasn't sure if she had suicides or not. I don't have a mutant, so I had someone on my squad there take her down. So next we got a Nick Fury fight, and I remember this fight. This fight was pretty masterful to say the least. So it's definitely going to be some stuff to take notes of in this fight. Now I do go ahead and apply my 6-hour boost because there are some other challenging fights ahead as well. I just want to make sure I can be able to take them all without having to reboost. So I'm pretty good in that inventory. Sometimes I just end up wasting boosts, but you can get them back pretty easily. Now these 6-hour boosts, you have to basically buy them with units. So if I get enough units saved up, I'll stick some there, stick some resources there. So Nick Fury, the whole idea, once again, is to play around the tactical charges. Make sure you store his SP2 when he's unblockable. And if you're able to finish a combo where it can put him over that threshold for the 20 tactical charges, that helps too. You just want to minimize him throwing SP1 because that rapidly accelerates his tactical charge accumulation. So backup recovery triggers there, which is not a bad thing because I'd rather him go over the 2 bars of power, but I obviously don't want to get him to 3 bars of power. So once again, we do another combo that put him over the 20 and reset his tactical charges. Again, we're holding block to make sure he doesn't throw the SP1. And the opponent, I mean, they usually throw SP1 if you're not holding block or if you just knock them down, they're more likely to throw a special. Now, I do get hit there, but again, we got the heal factor. Such a potion saver there. So he's unblockable, but he has 2 bars of power. And now this combo is gonna put him over the tactical charge threshold. But as you can see, Claire, she's a good matchup for Nick Fury. That one of the better non-mutant matchups because she can nullify his Fury, and because like I said, I think I said this in a prior video, when he has the second life, every Fury that he gains is doubled. But if you nullify the Fury, then it's just 1 tactical charge at a time. So you just an ordinary fight. And as you can see, this fight is pretty ordinary. Now, I do make a little mistake here, but luckily I did push him over 2 bars of power. Wasn't quite sure if that SP2 was going to push him over because I knew the tactical charge speed was still going to be unblockable. But as you can see, that was pretty good. Like I said, I had that 1 cough up in the first life, but again, she healed. All right, next we got a Korg. All right. And the guidance has been placed, so we're able to parry freely. Now there will be some more videos coming up that you'll see that I'll actually take him on without guidance, and that's primarily because his sig level was so low that it was okay. Like if it was like 20, 25, but if it's over 100, really over 50, just based off the trauma from some of those prior war videos with him just shrugging off everything when he wasn't supposed to like that. Yeah, don't really take chances when it's that high, but if it's 20, say 20, that's not a big deal. I think the shrug percentage is like 33%, so I can deal with that. I can't deal with 70%, or in some cases 80%. I mean, the highest he can go based off his sig level is 70%, but sometimes if you're in the wrong fight, he'll trigger that thing about 80+% of the time. So, but other than that, it's just standard fights you normally see against him on this node with Claire. Any block damage I take, just heal it back with the SP2. And of late, I haven't been as crisp evading his SP1s. So I do need to, I guess, refresh myself, get better at that. I mean, because it's going to be a scenario where I need to not get hit by his SP1. So, especially if it's unblockable, if I triggered that crowd excitement. And randomly, I swear, randomly, now I was at a dentist. I was waiting for a dentist appointment, but I had been sitting in there for like at least 30 minutes, and just randomly, I got a request to join Wi-Fi. I'm not sure if somebody else entered the building that had like a shareable Wi-Fi that just triggered. So that was just very, very interesting there. Luckily, I wasn't quaking. That would have definitely thrown me off. But anyway, we move on. Next fight, we have a Mordo. Now, I can see why this could be a very tricky placement, because Mordo, when he's passive, when he has that power gate, he's very passive. So he just turtles in the corner. And then, of course, once the power gate is off, then he'll be aggressive. But the thing about it is that normally, if his power gain is on, you want to try to heavy him in the corner. But with that mix master, not the mix master, but with the footloose, you're not able to attack him right away. So you have to wait it out. And by the time you finish waiting him out, he's ready to throw another special, and then he just parries me right there. So luckily I didn't face too many specials, but I can see how that could be a tricky placement, because you'll be in a constant cycle where you can't really attack him while he's gaining power. So that's the reason why I used that power boost for magic there, because I basically thought that whole fight through, thinking about that placement. Alright, so next fight here we have Thor Ragnarok on the Ebb and Flow Intercept, which is a cheeky placement, because you don't want to intercept him here, because there's a chance you can get auto blocked. Now there's a way that you can still intercept him, like either with a heavy attack or a special attack, and I was trying to intercept him with a special attack in this fight, but it's almost like you have to get lucky, because if you wait too late, then he'll actually just whiff at you, and then you throw the special, which that doesn't count as an intercept. So it's almost like you have to, like see, I tried it right there. So I was just too late. So it's almost like you gotta almost anticipate them dashing at you, but then at the same time, you don't want to throw a special attack when they're not actually coming at you, and then get destroyed. So I decided to just play it safe. No, it's not a big deal, but I did try to get that intercept in. Now, if you got somebody like Cable or MODOK, like somebody that has like a long, heavy attack, like lengthwise, then it's easier to intercept someone with a heavy. And there's, of course, that situation where if he has 20 or more of those charges, he'll gain a full 3 bars of power if you don't have him throw a special, or if you don't have a way to control his power. And of course, Warlock does have that control with the willpower, with the infection versus willpower. Now that would have been a situation I normally would intercept, but again, it's too risky. And I tried to intercept with that special again, but he had already whiffed at me. But we're 2 minutes in, and he got 25% health. So we're good. We're in a good position. We just want to make sure that we still manage these charges. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and throw it SB3. Yeah, I think I went ahead and throw the SB3 so I can heal myself because I do have a pretty tough fight ahead. So I'd rather not use a potion if I don't have to, if I can heal myself from this fight. Alright, it should do it there. Yep, there we go. Alright, next fight here we got the Mortal Abomination. So looking at the PI, considering this a 6-star rank 2, it lets me know he has suicides and willpower. Because usually if you run a suicides, you got willpower because it's kind of crazy to kill yourself where you can't heal it back. So, well, actually, I don't think he has suicides, but I know he has willpower. I do it the profile, so I said it's a rule of thumb. Always duel. I mean, unfortunately, you don't get dual chips anymore, so you only get 5 free a day. So after you use those 5, if you want to keep dueling, you have to use units now. It's 5 units, not that big of a deal. So I forgot what I had going on here. I think I just had to pause the fight. So little stuff like that, I'm just definitely not gonna remember what happened. I know I had to do something, so I paused it. You know what? I think I was in a card game because this is later on in the day, and I think because that dentist appointment I had was on a Monday. Usually Monday and Wednesday evenings. Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, I'm more than likely in a poker game. So, and speaking of poker, that's one of the highlights of the triple going on today is playing for higher stakes. Is the local poker doing pretty well there. Yeah, so I'm basically like in between hands, looking at my hands, see if I'm gonna play it or not. So yeah, multitasking, baby. Hopefully this fight will finish before my next poker hand is dealt. So yeah, fun times. I'm gonna try to make it a second channel started dedicated to poker. Just gotta figure out how to structure it. But if you guys have some ideas, you can comment below if you're an avid poker player yourself. But anyway, so this, and forgot to tell you about the philosophy of this fight. You might have seen it in some other videos, but if he has willpower, all I'm doing here is just parrying him and mixing in a heavy here and there. I don't want to immediately parry heavy because he has debuffs on him already, so redouble determination, his power gain rate is higher. And if he throws the SP1, it actually is going to create more poisons on him. So now, of course, you can get rid of all those poisons if you're able to intercept him and reset all of those debuffs and start back over. But I just kept it simple there. If they don't have willpower, then I just use Quake. So next fight here, we got a Killmonger. Now, prefer not to use magic because she's my boss killer. But we're gonna use her this fight though. We'll go ahead and pop on a attack and health boost, I believe, or at least an attack boost. Yep, there we go. So we're just gonna use the dash back light counter tactic for the most part, because I don't want to parry him to build his power even more, even though I just did it right there. But his reverb is in cooldown, so it's not a big deal. I just wanted to get myself the 2 bars of power sooner before he got back. So we got a nice little intercept there. Now I'm still taking reverb damage, which I wasn't quite understanding. I was taking that, despite him not having any power. But I guess it's just a built-in thing. If he's awakened, even if he has no power, you can still take reverb damage. So we get hit there, but luckily we got limbo, so it's not a big deal. All right, so we're doing well. Standing intercept. Now the standing intercept, by the way, is like when you knock the opponent down, you immediately go in to start a new combo. It's 100% safe because the worst thing they can do is just block you. I haven't seen a parry from a standing intercept, so that's the reason why it's safe. Hopefully that doesn't get quote unquote updated in the game. So this fight, I hit it on one of these things before when I talked about Claire, how she can actually shut down stuff like arc overload. If you throw her SP2, the buff immunity, when arc overload is about to re-trigger, it actually disables it from actually ever coming back. So in this case, her buff immunity against someone like King Groot, who has like a cycle, not quite like an arc overload cycle, but it's basically when his when that timer comes back, if he'll have Furies in the bank, and then they'll come back. But if we have buff immunity when it's about to re-trigger, then it's disabled for the rest of the fight. And as you see, it doesn't pop up. So I took away quite a bit of his abilities just by doing that, because normally when his Furies expire, he can actually get to a regeneration phase, which of course that's probably one of the reasons why the opponent placed him on this node, because of the regeneration. But shutting down his ability to have a Fury buff effectively took away his ability to actually heal. The only way he can really gain a heal at this point is if he throws an SP3, which of course will never have him throw that against me. Yeah, so that fight became very simple with Claire. All right, so next we got a thing going on. Anyway, some of you guys know where that comes from. But we're at the very end of war, so only my fights are left. So we're gonna go ahead and, well, I guess not boost for that fight. Actually, I think, yeah, I looked at the standings. We were behind at this point, so the war was lost. So decided to not use my boost. So it's a good opportunity to test my abilities on bosses without boosting. I've done it before. It's pointless to use resources in a war that's already lost. And you can test out some things in some cases. Now this thing actually had suicide, so it made this fight much, much easier. Now, the only tricky part about when you're facing an opponent on this node with suicides, that the initial poison, if they're not poison immune, you will be able to parry them, but then once that cycle stops, then you won't be able to parry them unless you re-poison them yourself. So because he has that poison on him now, that I can't. The only way I can re-stun him is if I poison him myself. But because he has that poison debuff constantly active on him, though, I'm just constantly gaining polka dot power, so it just makes this fight very easy. Very easy. So as you can see, we perfectly timed our 15 rock stats with that SP2. So yeah, so that's another reason why boosting wasn't necessary for this fight. The suicides made it very easy. But Okay, so I think I asked someone to place white mags here. I might have used the boost. I said the little details like that I don't recall, but as you can see, I'm not going to the pre-fight screen, so I definitely didn't boost for this fight. And this has suicides also, but half suicides, so no poison for me to take advantage of with Warlock's infection. But it's not going to really change anything for this particular fight. But the recoil is still there. Like nice light intercept. So now we're just going to throw the SB2. If they were running Bulwark, it'll be a different story, but they're running Protect, so the armor break does apply. So you can constantly degenerate off of that elongated armor break. And mess up there, took a little combo to the face. As you can see, those combos for these mini bosses can definitely hurt you if you're not boosted health-wise. One combo, half your health is gone. So you do have to fight more carefully. Probably could have thrown the SP1 right there and finished the fight, but we decided to finish it this way. And he's down. Now the fight was doable without guidance, because really the idea against him on that fight is not to rely on parry. But at the same time, I didn't want to be in a situation where I'm trying to beta special or beta heavy by hitting into the block while I have brute force. So it's just less stressful to use that. And I could have used magic that fight too, but of course I had magic for this fight. And I definitely did not boost for this one, because you see her PI is regular. It's like 13,000. So we're going to do what we do. This is a good opportunity to experiment what I want to do. I didn't even bother using a power start boost or a mystic boost. I've gotten to where I can fight him without using that. So because first of all, you have to try to improvise fighting. I mean, if Kabam gave these boosts more often, because I got enough loyalty to restock up on some of these things, but they've just been pretty stingy with the invulnerability, power start, and the combat regeneration boost. So I really don't understand why they're holding that stuff back. And it's not like they're have a way that you can get them for units in just even in the feature store. So really the only way you can get it is through loyalty, or if they have like some type of offer where you buy it. So I just don't understand why though they don't use them. But anyway, back to the rant is over. So as you can see, we're not on pace to KO him, but the plan that I had here, I think this is the very first war that I tried to use something different. And this, again, when you lose a war, lesson can still be learned. That was a rule that you saw me post in a previous video when we started out 0-3. Now after this war, we actually go on a little bit of a winning streak, but so I gained a little bit too much power, got too many debuffs on him at the moment. I mean, too many buffs on him, but I wasn't 100% sure how many buffs I needed him to have on him before I threw my SP3, because the SP3 will nullify all the buffs on the opponent and it'll hit harder. Her SP3 does. And with Mystic Dispersion, I can gain that power back. So as you can see, I gained too much power. So now I gotta throw another SP3, and it's basically gonna mess up my magic cycle. So now I'm saying to myself, okay, I need to have him have less buffs on him. Now, of course, the number of buffs that he needs may be different for you, if depending on what your level of missile dispersion is. I mean, my missile dispersion is 4 out of 5. So that means he needs to have about 10 to 11 buffs on him for me to be perfectly within that 2-bar range. So what it'll allow me to do is freely start over the magic cycle without him getting over another bar of power, because her SP3, what it also does, it doesn't generate power for the opponent. So it's a pretty useful thing there. So basically having to reset that cycle, I mean, it cost me time and it cost me block damage from having to take some more of his specials before I'm able to reestablish the power control. But I definitely do not recall dying in this fight. So just it was just a elongated apocalypse fight. But again, either way, it's still instructional to show you that you can solo this with magic without boosting. Because if he was a rank 3, I believe I can still solo him without boosting because of that SP3. But you just have to be a little bit more crisp with your cycle. But unfortunately, we did lose this war, so we're now 2-4 on the season. But again, comment below, please like, share, subscribe, and hope you guys have a great weekend.